I'm Don Morris, you're watching Bushcraft, and today I'm laughing at myself. I don't know why I'm laughing at myself. Today we are once again stuffed in the back of the garage. It's been a bit nasty weather-wise, random hailstorms and the like, so I figured we'd have a look at something garagey. And today what we're going to have a look at is a lovely lamp. Oh, vitamin coffee. A lovely lamp that is new to my collection. La-di-da. Stumbled upon this in a little antique store in Bakewell that I wandered into just on the off chance, and there it was hanging up. Now, this lamp, I believe, is a Veritas Marine. The only identifying feature I've got really here is where it says Marine on the tank. A lot of lamp makers did not stamp their lamps, particularly if they were going to go off for specific contracted purchases like marine use and shipping, so it's a little bit difficult to identify exactly what it is. Now, if it is indeed a Veritas, then Veritas lamps were made in England, and they were actually made by a company called Falk Stedman, or Stadelman. I can't quite decide how exactly it's pronounced. I'm sure somebody out there will tell me exactly how it's pronounced in the comments, because that's what usually happens. But that company was trading under the name of Veritas, and they did do partnerships apparently with other lamp makers as well. A couple of those. We've got R&M, MFG and Engineering Co. Never heard of these people. As I have said before, I am not a lamp expert. I am merely a lamp enthusiast. Now, apparently with the Veritas lamps, they quite often have brass fuel tanks and are stamped into it, but not this one. This one is some sort of coated steel, and there's no stamp anywhere that I can find. I mean, I've not taken a wire brush to it. I'm gone too violent with it. But I do have several of the Veritas Pax lamps, and they are marked Veritas, and they are incredibly similar in construction to this one. But there are obviously lots of other manufacturers, and they did in part copy each other's designs or come up with incredibly similar solutions to making these things. So this could possibly be a DHR lamp, which says here is Den Haan Rotterdam. So it could be that as well, according to the best of my research. There's only a few differences that I've found between this and my definite Veritas models, and that is how the little cap up there is crimped on. Slightly different on the others. That might be something and nothing. But I'm pretty convinced it's either a Veritas or a DHR, but it is indeed a marine lamp designed for use in shipping and other things. Or at least that's to the best of the research that I can find out. If anybody else out there sees this thing and knows better than I do, please do feel free to say. But it's a charming little jobby, and it appears like a lot of the lamps that I find, it appears like it's never been used, it's never been lit. It's probably just been purchased as a backup and hung in a storeroom. Maybe on a boat, given as it is the marine, or maybe just in somebody's back room. Who knows the story behind these things? What I can tell you is it's incredibly clean. It's very heavy for a lamp of its style. It is very heavy. Although this is a hot blast lamp in the way that it works. So it's actually blowing hot air under that flame down there when it's lit, as opposed to the other ones with the cold blast type, but we'll discuss them another time really. Now, the hot blast ones aren't quite as efficient as the cold blast ones, but in my opinion the hot blast ones make a better heater than they do a lamp. So all of this is really clean. It's all moving. Yeah, that wick doesn't look like it has ever been touched. And really what I could do with is a little brush or a little wire brush or something to get in here and give it just a little bit of a clean, because there's a bit of crud in there. There we go. Get the lamp cradle off it. Lovely. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit dirty down there, and the wick isn't winding. Yeah, and the wick winder is pretty wedged on there. Right, I'm going to go and find me a little wire brush or something, and maybe a splash of WD-40 or something. That's right. Bit of fetch some gadgetry. And found some replacement wicks because this wick is, well, calling it a wick is a bit rich, really. It's half a wick that's been stuffed into it. Obviously somebody's attempt to keep it running at some point. So although it doesn't look like it's been lit, it's probably been used. That's just, it's not been lit in this guise. Now I think that this should come off there, but it isn't doing. So I need to get in there first and clean it out. There's a lot of stuff in there, I can see. A lot of accumulated crud. That's obviously will cause trouble if that gets up the arms. It'll slow the flow down. And just generally cause a nuisance. I want to try and get that piece out in the middle so I can clean it properly, but I can't do that with all this crud in there because it'll just get sticky. Nice. Crispy. Right, give this a little soaking in WD and we'll come back to this in a minute. Alright. Pop that out. Yeah. Nice. So while that's doing that, I'm just going to give this all a bit of a clean up, get all the airflow nice and clean. I'm not going to go too exuberant, so I don't want it so as it's like proper full on shiny. Just doesn't need to be that detailed, so I'm just going for a very soft wire cut brush on the end of a Dremel type tool here. We're using these things with the little wire cut brushes I wear. These bristles flick off all the time. So yeah, just giving it a clean like that. I'm not going super mad with it. I'm not trying to, that was shiny, that's not me. I'm not trying to get it stupid clean or anything like that. It's just with lamps like these, what can happen if you've got a build-up of rust and powdery dry rust or carboning all around it like that, that tends to act like a wick, soaks the paraffin in, and then when it gets hot you get all that flicking, flashing, the base catches fire a bit. It's just a pain in the backside, and it's like I say, it's just caused by dust and grime wicking paraffin out of other places, and that'll cause you a bit of a nuisance. So you don't have to go mad, just get it clean, get all the loose dust and crud off it. Right, let's see if this has loosened any. Oopsie. Nope, not really. And I don't want to put too much pressure down there, to be honest with you. It can be sensitive little bits down there. There you go, a little bit of heat always gets the job done. I'll let that cool before I start messing with it. Mostly because if I start playing with it now, look at that, all the carbon, after I've hit it with blowtorch, all the carbon's coming out of it. Lovely. So down there, when they're hot as well, they're only thin metal, they'll be dead soft and easy bend, so let it cool before you mess with it. So down here it's all damp and cruddy and just not very nice. It's damp, so I'm going to blow lamp it, dry it out. And again, just because I always seem to get a couple of comments about this, yes, I am stuffed down the back of the garage using a blowtorch surrounded by flammable things. There are several fire extinguishers behind you that you can't see, and there is an extractor. It's a ventilated area, so don't be giving me no nonsense about what I'm doing and where I'm doing it. I've not caught fire yet. Righty-ho, where's my little Dremel ting? Let's give this a jolly old scrubbing out down there and get some of this flake out. Like I say, generally this lamp is in really good condition. It's just dirt here and there. So like I say, folks, just a delicate clean with these sorts of tools. We're not trying to get it back to bare metal or anything. We're just removing flaky, rusty bits. A bit of flakage going on in the tank itself. Give it a good shake, get all that crud out. Now, the really good thing about these paraffin lamps and the way that they work with the wick and everything is the inside of the tank, it does not have to be super clean. A few bits of stuff in there is not going to make any difference to it whatsoever. Unlike pressure lamps, if you're using the actual air pump up pressure lamps, the tanks need to be really clean. They're going to put the fuel through some really fine needle jets, and anything in that fuel is going to clog that up. These don't really make that much difference. It's just a point of we're cleaning it up a bit. We may as well clean it up and get that crud out of the tank. But as I say, we're not bare metaling it. We're not trying to make it shine. We want it to look old and patinaed. We're just cleaning off loose, crusty bits. Alright, so the only wick I've got is possibly a bit smaller than this one needs. It should, yeah, to be honest, I think these are about 8mm, and I think it's probably for an 11mm wick. Shouldn't matter though, it will still work in the long run. I'll give it its own wick, but it's been my experience that the difference between 8mm, 11mm and stuff like that, it really doesn't make a lot of difference. Just give this a bit of a clean up. Oh, hang on. Get right way for a piece of wire in there. Let's see, we're just giving it a gentle brushing around, get any crud off. Anything that's going to be a nuisance later on. Where I am going to give a real good clean is around where it plugs into the tank. Because in future when I want to take it off, I don't want all that rust stuck there, wedging it in place for me. Nice. Right then, should we chuck a fresh wick in it? The winding mechanism is all free, which is always pleasing, because they are a nuisance to fix. You pretty much have to replace the whole thing. I have brought them back to life before, but it's not an easy task. Getting these wicks in is annoying as well. Yeah, quite often it's easier to go in from the top. What I need... They're all the way over there. Right. So, Got a bit of crisp going on inside here, and I can't get in there with the Dremel tool. So what I'm going to do is just very carefully clean it about with a screwdriver and get a load of the rusty stuff off. This is why I always say with these things, if you're going to store them, leave them stored for ages. Leave them with fuel in, because it will, at least then, it will stop the inside of the fuel tank from rusting, but it will also stop your wick winding mechanism from going funny. So always leave them with a bit of fuel in them. Ideally leave them full, but where's that start? Not the way I usually like doing it, but I think I'm going to have to help it out with a little screwdriver poking it down. It's not my favourite way of doing this, but it is being a bit of a nuisance. So yeah, that just does not want to go in. There you go. Just grab it with some fine needle nose pliers and yank the little devil through. Magic. Now what I need to do is get that flat to the top of there. And one of the easiest ways of doing that is just burn it while it's dry. Let it burn itself off. Flatten out the top of the wick and just take down any more. So, oh, that's pretty flat. Lovely. You can use scissors, but you just get lots of little bits of fluff anyway that you usually end up having to burn down to carbon and then just blast off. That's as flat as it gets. Okie dokie. There you go. That's what I'm going to do actually. Just give that a smoosh round. Just a tiny tickle of WD. That seats in nice. Lovely. Right. Let's get the old glass cradle back on down here. And pop the cowl back on. Very important that that lines up with your wick, because if it doesn't, it won't work right. Nice little groove on here to help you with that. Okay, lovely. Yeah. Seats in pretty nice. Pop the glass back in it. It does have a bit of a list to one way. It's been dropped by the look of it, but it hasn't done it a tremendous amount of damage. It's just got a slight lean. It's not the sort of thing I'd bother correcting with them, really. Won't make any difference when it's hung up. Doesn't really. You can see where it's dented a bit around there. That arm sits just a little. I could tap it back to. There's no point. I'm not going to risk damaging it for that. Lovely. Right, let's get some clean fuel in it. Should have had a funnel. It's over there. Never mind. Some nice clean fuel in it. It's always funny when you've acquired a lamp like this from anywhere you've managed to find one. But really, I think when I'm filling them up like this, I always think, I wonder how long it actually is since this thing last had fuel in it. I bet it's absolutely years. but you never know. Okay. Well, it's passed the first test, it's not leaking. So, we're just going to give it 5 or 10 minutes, make sure that fuel's soaked into the wick properly. And then we're going to light this sucker. I know, lamp nerdiness. And then let's light this puppy. Lord knows how long it has been since it has carried flame. I'll let it warm up. So even though it is a hot blast, it'll still warm up like any of them and get a little bit better, a bit brighter as it warms. The thing is, like I said, the wick is possibly slightly too small, but with the way that the cowls work in spreading, fanning the air, usually doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So it'll be good. So I'm just going to let it warm up and then I'll turn it up a little bit, see how much more better and bright it is. Like I say, it's not a perfectly level lamp, it's clearly been dropped at some point, but I don't mind that. It is in otherwise such great condition that it leaning a little bit one way isn't a massive deal to me. So there we have it. A beautiful Veritas marine lamp happily glowing away. It is a bit flicky on the flame when you move it. That is most likely down to the wick not quite being the right size. That's what I've got. I'll get the bigger ones and put them in. Most of the Veritas or the Hot Blast, particularly this style, I think most of them really are on 11mm wick. It's slightly bigger than the smaller Hurricane lamps, but it is a bigger lamp. So we'll get some of that ordered and it can have the proper wick in. But as long as I don't shake it about too much, it's absolutely fine. And there it is in all its shiny loveliness, and a little bargain that I found. And charming it is. But that's about all really I need to say about this sexy lamp. So for all you paraffin nerds out there, I hope you enjoyed it. For those of you that wanted bushcraft, my apologies. But that is the way it goes. It's kind of bushcraft, it's lampy. Other than that though, folks, that's about all I need to say. So get yourselves out there, get having fun, get finding lamps to bring back to life. And until the next one, that's bosun out.